Hey there, we're going to be taking a look at an introduction to probability and what that means, as well as some of the terms that you're going to be seeing when we're working these problems. So first off, probability is simply the chances of something happening, the likelihood that something will occur, and really just the chances that whatever you're looking for or potentially not looking for occurs. The way that we oftentimes write this out is P parentheses E, or what we call P of E. Obviously E will change, but if we're just talking about a general event with no name, then E is a good representation of that. If, for instance, I'm talking about the probability of getting heads when flipping a coin, I might say the probability of H for heads, or just as likely the probability of tails, P of T. But the P in parentheses is going to be very, very common, so I wanted to introduce that to you so you recognize it when you see it on a problem. We've got two types of probability. I want to introduce both of them to you. We will most likely be working with the first one more often, though. So our two types, first off, we have theoretical probability. And what this is the possible successes over the total possibilities. Well, if we're still talking about flipping a coin, well, if we want heads on our coin, there's only one side that's heads. If it's a regular coin, there's only one side that's heads. So the possible successes is one. Total possibilities, there's two. There's two sides, so our theoretical probability of getting heads would be 1 over 2. Let me write that out for you. So the probability of heads here, and we said there's one success over two total possibilities, so we're going to have simply 1 over 2, or 1/2. And that's how we would write it out. The theoretical probability and experimental probability are written out the same, but we are talking about possibilities with theoretical probability. When we get to experimental probability, this is what we would actually see. So say we were actually flipping a coin. I don't have a coin with me, otherwise I'd be flipping it right now. But with experimental probability, we have the measured successes over the total numbers. So let's say we flipped a coin 50 times, and then 28 of the times we saw a head. So we'd say our probability of heads for the experimental probability would be 28 over 50. And the important thing to know with experimental versus theoretical probability is sometimes they're going to be a little bit different. We would know that if we were going strictly by theoretical probability, we should see exactly 25 out of 50 heads. Well, things aren't always exactly the way they should be when it comes to probability. So sometimes things are going to be a little bit off. The experimental probability that may be a little bit different than the theoretical probability, but the idea is the more times it happens, the closer and closer it's going to get to the theoretical probability. All right, the last term I have for you here is complementary events. And basically, this is the idea that if we add up all of the possibilities all of the probabilities for every event, the result will be 1. For instance, the probability of an event plus the probability of the event not occurring, or not E in this case, is equal to 1. So for instance, I've got probability of heads plus the probability of not heads, or tails, and we should know that if these are complementary events, this should equal 1. Well, the probability of heads, there's 1 heads over 2 possibilities, that's 1/2. Probability of tails, well, there's 1 side that's tails over 2 possibilities, that's also 1/2. And if we add 1/2 plus 1/2, that should give us 1. Some of the situations are a little more complicated. You'll have more than two possibilities. But this is just a real simple example. If we add up all of the possible events, then we should get to 1.